Good evening and welcome to our council meeting on August 27th, 2025. I will now call on Tim Brubaker, Acting Regional Clerk, to conduct the roll call.
Thank you. Regional Chair Redmond.
Present. Councillor
Craig. Present. Councillor Erb. Present. Councillor Foxton. Present. Councillor Gowing.
Present.
Councillor Harris. Present. Councillor Hunick.
Present.
Councillor James.
Present.
Councillor Liggett.
Present.
Councillor McCabe. Councillor Nowak. Present. We have regrets from Councillor Rodriguez. Councillor Salonen.
Present.
Councillor Shantz.
Present.
Councillor Verbanovich. And Councillor Wolf. He's online and I can see her. Thank you, Chair.
Councillor Wolf, you have been marked in attendance. Thank you. I'd like to acknowledge that the land on which we gather today is the traditional territory of the Haudenosaunee, the Anishinaabe, and the Chinootan peoples. In doing this, I want to reflect on what it means to be doing important community work like we are engaging in collectively today, and also on my own individual relationship to this land. As a settler, one of the most important aspects of my individual journey towards truth and reconciliation has been to listen. I am continually grateful to a community that shares their stories and concerns with me. As well as chair of the region, I know I carry a large responsibility to ensure that it is not just myself on the individual level listening and acting, but that as a government we are listening and creating action within the community. I'm offering this acknowledgement as one of the many actions I personally in the region largely is taking towards truth and reconciliation. We acknowledge the enduring presence of the Indigenous people with whom we share this land today, their achievements and their contributions to our community. I'd also like to acknowledge a few important dates this month. On August 19th, we celebrated World Humanitarian Day, which is a day to honor those who step into crises to help others and to stand with millions of people whose lives are in danger. August 25th, 2025, marked the Rohingya Genocide Remembrance Day. This is a day on which we honor and remember those who have lost their lives, families, homes, culture, and language as a result of the ongoing genocide. It is also a day to recognize the resilience of the survivors and show support. Lastly, I would like to acknowledge that on August 31st, it is International Overdose Awareness Day. Together, we will continue to work towards addressing and ending the overdose crisis through education to reduce the stigma. I know members of our community are gathering in Victoria Park this evening to recognize the lives lost. We are thinking of their families, their friends, and their loved ones tonight. I will now consider a motion to go into closed. Moved by Councillor Wolf. Councillor Wolf and seconded by Councillor Foxton. Please use your e-scribe to vote. We will be going into closed today to receive advice on a subject matter of solicitor-client privilege related to identifiable individual and receiving advice that is subject to solicitor-client privilege related to labor relations. That is carried, colleagues. We will see. So good evening, everyone. I would now entertain a motion to reconvene in open session. If I could have a mover, moved by Councillor Salonen, seconded by Councillor Craig. Please use your e-scribe to vote that we return to open session. Colleagues, that is carried. We start this evening off to welcome our newly appointed Councillor Joe Gowing. I will now call on Tim Brubaker, Acting Director, Council and Administrative Services Regional Clerk, to swear in our newest member of Council, Joe Gowing. Please proceed to the round table, Joe.
So, Councillor, we'll have you read the oath of office and then sign on the line.
All right. I, Joe Gowing, have been appointed to the office of Regional Councillor in the Regional Municipality of Waterloo, do solemnly promise and declare that I will truly, faithfully, and impartially exercise this office to the best of my ability and knowledge. I have not received and will not receive any payment or reward or promise thereof for the exercise of this office in a biased, corrupt, or in any other improper manner. I will disclose any pecuniary interest, direct or indirect, in accordance with the Municipal Conflict of Interest Act. I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to His Majesty King Charles III. And I make this solemn promise and declaration consciously believing it to be true and knowing that it is of the same force and effect as made under this oath.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
So it isn't often that a council can benefit from a refresh midterm. This was a first for council to use the application process to appoint our new colleague, Joe Gowing. I want to thank everyone who applied and the commitment that they expressed to our community. Several of the applicants mentioned the legacy of the late Carrie Williams, her passion for this community, and dedication for research-based, data-informed decisions. These formed Carrie's decision metrics. At the conclusion of the process of going through the applications and selecting Councillor Gowing, I let her family know how many tributes were made to Carrie's record as a council member. Her husband, Nathan Williams, said he wished he could express his gratitude to each one personally. I said that I would do it on his behalf. So a heartfelt thank you to all of you for remembering Carrie. Colleagues, are there any declarations of pecuniary interest under the Municipal Conflict of Interest Act? Councillor James.
Thank you. Through you, Chair. I have to declare a not indirect pecuniary interest on item 13.2.2 on the agenda. I'm disclosing a non-pecuniary conflict of interest as an immediate family member is directly involved in the project. It will not be appropriate for me to participate in the vote at that time.
Thank you, Councillor James. We have no presentations, no petitions. We do have delegations. I would like to, I will read them as listed on the agenda and would like to remind all delegations of some guidelines for participation. If you're attending in person, please proceed to the podium when you are called upon to speak. You will have 5 minutes to speak. If you registered before the deadline, and 3 minutes if you registered afterwards. Additionally, some general reminders. If you conduct yourself in any of the following manners, it will result in an immediate removal from the meeting. Interrupting counselors, staff, or other delegations, derogatory statements about counselors, staff, or others, turning your camera on at inappropriate times, or hate speech or defamatory comments. One last reminder for delegations, please do not take offense if following your presentation there are no questions from council. This is council's time to really listen and reflect upon the opinions and ideas shared with us from our community members. And a quick reminder to all members of the audience, you're asked to maintain order, and this means that you may not address council without the permission of the chair, interrupt anyone, disrupt the meeting with unreasonable noise or vocal expressions such as applause, booing, or cheering, or display signs or posters. Our first delegation is Alexandra Pavlov and Ayeko Solomon, Peace for All Canada. Welcome to the podium, and you have 5 minutes.
Good evening, everyone. And I am Ayeko Solomon, Executive and Founder of Peace for All Canada. Today, we're briefly going to share with you Peace for All Canada and the activity that we are to present here in the region. Briefly, the vision of Peace for All Canada is united, prosperous communities living peacefully side by side. The mission is to inspire individuals, families, and communities to reject all violent extremism and discrimination, promoting socio-economic empowerment and peaceful coexistence. Our approach to achieve this vision and mission is community-rooted conflict transformation through the use of sacred dialogue, trauma healing, education, and employment empowerment. And next. These are not wishful ideas and ambitions. These are tested work experience. Between 2010 and 11, we partnered with the Canadian Department of Foreign Affairs and International Trade. We promoted land conflict in Uganda that ended in a land reform. Next. And we worked with the United Nations Mission in South Sudan in women socioeconomic empowerment. Next. In community that was experiencing war and violence, we mobilized the communities, different tribes, and were able to successfully promote peaceful conflict resolution. Next. So we are bringing to the region this experience of working with the youth, of working with the community elders and leaders, of using cultural methods and hybrided it with the new methods of transforming peace and conflict. Next. So at the moment, we have such education projects for kids from kindergarten to the grade 12. We have sports for peace activities that we tend to use to address issue of the drug among our youth, issue of the violent issues of crime in our youth. So next. So today, my colleague Alexandra is going to address the issue of the access to justice. And thank you.
Hello, my name is Alexander Pavlov. I'm an internationally trained lawyer from Bulgaria. I've been working as supportive housing worker for 5 years, supporting unsheltered and precariously housed people with addictions and mental health problems. I developed community legal education information project, CLIP, when I realized how many legal problems these people face and how challenging it is for them to get legal help. Next slide, please. CLIP functions like a bridge that connects people to the legal information and resources they need. This will be provided through trained community justice helpers. This is project for legal information only.
You have 1 minute remaining.
Not legal advice. It will be delivered in trusted local spaces. CLIP ensures culturally sensitive, accessible support, meeting individuals where they are and helping them move forward. Next slide, please. We begin with community justice helper. Our community justice helpers are internationally trained lawyers. They will be trained using resources developed in Ontario. They will initiate conversation with participants in safe, welcoming environments. If needed, they will refer to volunteer lawyers, and many lawyers already agreed to participate and to volunteer for this project. We will also be monitoring the types of legal issues they face and whether this type of service is effective. Next slide, please. CLIP is preventative, community-centered solution that addresses issues before they become emergencies, easing pressure on core systems. It builds trust between residents and municipal frameworks that serve them. Next slide, please. We are excited to announce that the CLIP project officially launches this September in Waterloo region. The project is funded by Law Foundation of Ontario, and we are very grateful for their generous support. The program will be delivered through trusted community sites where residents already feel supported. For the pilot project, we'll be working at Supportive Housing Waterloo, Social Development Center, and Area of Hope. We have strong partnership in place with Community Legal Education Ontario and with pro bono lawyers and local social agencies to ensure the pilot project is successful. This is the start of a new chapter in the access to justice for our community, one that we're proud to lead with your support. Next slide, please.
You're out of time. Do you want to conclude? I have a couple of questions here for you.
Yeah, of course.
Would you like to make a concluding
Yeah.
statement?
So I just want to conclude that your support can help CLIP become sustainable, scalable feature in our justice ecosystem, and together we can build stronger, fairer, and safer community.
Thank you very much. Don't go away. We have questions. Councillor McCabe.
Thank you, through you, Chair. Thank you to both of you who delegated tonight and to others who are here and who you've worked with to get this to this point. It sounds like a really interesting and important and very practical project that you're starting. I mean, access to the justice system and legal advice is very expensive and very difficult for many, many in our community. So thank you for thinking of those and coming up with a really innovative way to, it looks like a really innovative way to provide access to justice. Just a couple questions. You had said that access to legal advice is really challenging, and I think we all can agree on that. Do you have some stats about how many people are currently not able, particularly low-income people who are currently not able to access legal services? And then my other question was around partnerships, because you mentioned your last slide indicated that you have a number of partners. I'm just wondering who those would be. Thank you.
So former Attorney General of Ontario, Chris Bentley, states that justice serves 2 of 10 people in Ontario and only 1 of 10 businesses. And according to the National Project for Self-Represented Litigants, almost 80% of family litigants in the court case are unrepresented. 86% of self-represented litigants in the national study were looking for legal assistance, and 53% of self-represented litigants in the study has previously retained lawyer, but they run out of funds. And the problem is not only for people who are homeless or they're using social welfare, but also for people who are working poor. They just cannot afford lawyer. And for the other question about our partnerships, we have, as I said, partnerships with Supportive Housing Waterloo, with Ray of Hope and Social Development Center, and we'll have our activities in their spaces.
Councillor McCabe, did you have a second question, or that's? Thank you very much. Thank you for expediency. Councillor James.
Thank you, through you, Chair. Thank you for coming in today. Just had a couple questions about the organization. So how long have you been in operation here or in Waterloo Region?
The organization started in 2006, and from 2006 to 2018, we were like building connection between Global South, Global North, particularly Waterloo region and East Africa, and connecting parents, both through the two communities, children and youth, and all based on conflict prevention, gender-based violence, and so on. And in 2018, after the pandemic, we realized that we need to focus more here, especially when we realize there's a lot of issue with the youth and a lot of issue with the gender-based violence at homes. And so we, from 2008 and up to now, we concentrate in Waterloo region.
Okay, and just to follow up through you, Chair, in terms of just an extension, I guess, of the partnership. So how are you funded? Are you volunteer-based? Is there partnerships with other levels of government? And specifically, you're looking for support from the region. What does that look like in a tangible, what does that support look like?
Thank you. That's really an important question. And 70% of our work is volunteers. And because, as I said, we are drawing from our war-related experience of working peace work in war conflict areas. So that's why our team is it's a cosmopolitan kind of staff and volunteers. The Waterloo Region Community Foundation is one of our supporters, and also we have the United Way is supporting us. Camino, and we work in close partnership with Camino. We had wonderful support from the upstream. That was 3 years ago. And but based on the experience that we were able to demonstrate internationally, we are really using 10% of that experience, especially with the youth and household. So we think if we're able to sit with you and dream together how we can use our experience in confronting the mental health in particular among youth, and also working with the family and issue of mitigating and preventing violence at homes, I think that'll be an amazing support for our work.
Okay, thank you. I had no further questions.
Thank you. Councillor Erb.
Thank you for your presentation and for coming in. I think, Alexander, we met 2 years ago about this idea, and so you've been hard at work, and congratulations for bringing it this far. 2 questions. You said you got some funding from a foundation. How long does that last for?
So we have grant approved from Law Foundation of Ontario, which is this for 6 months pilot project.
Okay.
We will start in September. We'll have 1 month preparation, training, 4 months practical activities, and 1 month evaluation. And the whole project, Community Legal Information Project, is under Peace for All Canada. So this is the connection.
I see, okay. And a second question, if I may. So the community partnerships, so what kind of a relationship would you have with community justice initiatives or with community legal aid, as an example? Is that something you would pursue?
Yeah, we're interested to partner with organizations who are passionate about providing access to justice for people who are marginalized, homeless, living on the streets, and we're welcoming any ideas to work together with them to alleviate the crisis in the access to justice, because now we have really severe crisis in the access to justice in the country.
Thank you. It's always good to hear from community groups who are advocating for the more vulnerable in our community and to try and bring some supports. Thank you.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. Those are all the questions we have. Thank you for coming and sharing your initiative with us. The next delegation is Delinda Reese from Waterloo. Delinda? Welcome to the podium, and you have 5 minutes.
You all have hard copies along with my contact information and my offer to help. What I initially wrote to share tonight includes carefully laid out philosophical, psychological, and ethical arguments about what is needed for growth and prosperity. Fortunately, one of my friends suggested that I keep this short, simple, and just say what needs to be said. So here goes. I am Delinda Reese. I am not a politician. I am not a farmer. I am not a public speaker. I have no need for data centers. Who I am? I'm a Waterloo resident. I'm a Canadian dual citizen and a retired U.S. anesthesiologist and internal medicine medical doctor with decades of professional and personal experience furthering health and well-being. It is with that expertise and with a profound sense of moral duty that I offer my comments today. Let me tell you about human beings. We cannot survive without clean air, clean water, healthy soil, and food to eat. Neither can we survive without human connection, healthy relationships, community, and meaningful engagement with life. And I think that's what our previous delegation was actually telling us about the importance of community. Again, let me repeat. We cannot survive without human connection, healthy relationships, community, and meaningful engagement with life. Let me tell you about data. Data can do many things. Data can entertain us. Data can inform us. Data can unduly influence us or even manipulate us. Data can categorize us and commoditize us. Data can seduce us and data can surveil us. But data cannot fill our bellies with food, nor can data nurture our souls with human connection or real relationships. Let me tell you about data centers. Data centers are the physical foundation and storage centers needed for artificial intelligence, for a digital economy, surveillance infrastructure, and an artificially connected modern society that values convenience over human interaction and trusts surveillance more than relationships. Data centers are said to be urgently necessary. North American politicians and big tech billionaires seem to be using all their powers and persuasions to bypass regulations, reviews, or anything that might stand in the way of building these monstrosities. Data centers create an inordinate amount of heat. Data centers consume millions of gallons of water per day. The energy required by data centers needs to be measured in terawatt hours, an amount so vast that it is used to describe the energy production or needs of a whole country. Data centers have a nasty environmental footprint. Noise pollution, water pollution, electronic pollution are a few more of the ways that data centers harm the environment. For residents in cities surrounding these data centers, the cost of water and electricity is already skyrocketing. Who will be inconvenienced when rationing is needed? In the name of what they call progress, economics, and convenience, many deep pockets seek to exploit our goodwill and naivete to destroy farmland because it happens to be shovel-ready. Like many new technologies and industries, data centers can be very seductive but dangerous. They come with serious risks to environmental health and risks to all dimensions of human well-being. We need farmland, as we always have, to stay happy and healthy. Listen to this doctor. Listen to your wise and knowing hearts. Drop the data. Keep the farms.
Thank you, Delinda. Councillor Salonen.
Thank you, through you, Chair. Thank you very much for your delegation as well as the letter that you provided all of us. I did just want to provide clarity. I know you didn't explicitly say it, but I felt that there were insinuations about land acquisition in Wilmot in relation to a data center, which I know there were reports about. Those reports were not factually correct, and at this time, it's not being considered for that location. So I just want to make that very clear in case that wasn't. But thank you very much for your presentation, as I know your other points still stand.
So, and can I ask if the farmland is protected?
We don't debate with the delegations. Thank you very much for being impassioned and coming to talk about the data center.
I just wanted to point out that it's more than just about data centers. Thank you.
Thank you. Next delegation is Andrew Reeves from Kitchener. Andrew, welcome to the podium, and you have 5 minutes.
Hello again. I'm here to delegate on issues pertaining to homelessness in our communities, particularly the need for a public camping bylaw. I'll provide some refresher context from where I'm personally coming from. I live in Kitchener and spend my days working as a research economist looking at data relating to the Canadian economy and modeling the relationship to human and environmental well-being. This informs the kind of troubling economic and historical moment we find ourselves in. So that's where I come to that understanding. But in the more concrete realm, I've been volunteering significant time and effort with our local community to help unhoused folks survive being denied housing and shelter. I try my best to learn from these efforts and from the chronically unhoused folks that I get to know personally and how they could have their needs met. We all want improved transit that comes with a new transit hub, but have found ourselves stuck in an unnecessary and unproductive either-or situation at the 100 Victoria site, being available for construction work on the one hand and unhoused people's rights on the other. If people simply had somewhere else to shelter themselves, this location would not have to be an issue. What do I mean by people having the right to shelter themselves? I don't simply mean the obvious but abstract human rights in moral terms, although that's important to me. The right of unhoused people to shelter themselves somewhere, anywhere, is given both by the One Dish, One Spoon Wampum Treaty as well as the Canadian Charter of Rights and Freedoms. We are seeing again and again the Section 7 right to life, liberty, and security of the person being upheld even in court, despite pressure from the Ford government, which we all know you're also experiencing behind closed doors. I was there at court a few weeks ago and watched the region's unfortunately very sleazy lawyer throw vague arguments completely disconnected from facts on the ground. I'm not sure if those who directed the lawyer are just completely out of touch or what, but what I do know is we need a public camping bylaw so that people can move somewhere less contentious. I think we all agree on that. It would be wonderful if we could keep pointing fingers at the higher levels of government, which we're increasingly abandoned by. It's pretty rough having a province run by wealthy industrialists and local oligarchs like the Westons, and a federal government run by Prime Minister Goldman Sachs. Costs are up, and I do genuinely believe you all when you say that money locally is tight. But that said, having the lowest level of government means that the buck stops here. If higher levels aren't providing solutions to the housing and homelessness crisis, we must triage locally. Only the lowest level of government can ensure that our unhoused neighbors' charter rights are upheld. And triaging means that unmet base needs should be dealt with first over other priorities. The challenge right now is if anyone tries to leave 100 Vic or is a newly unhoused person and looking for somewhere to shelter themselves, anywhere at all, police will forcibly displace or remove that person's shelter. Repeated offenses can even result in arrest, and being pushed to the margins can result in death. And we know that Waterloo region has one of the highest rates of unhoused people living outside in Canada. According to the most recent point-in-time count, 43% of unhoused people are living completely outside here in our community. That's compared to only 10% in Toronto. In lieu of housing at this very moment, we need a bylaw that legally protects unhoused people's right to shelter themselves. This would protect people and reduce costs associated with policing. And so what kind of bylaw is needed? So a couple thoughts. The only land that can be used for sheltering oneself like this is public land. And a concession is probably needed to ensure housed people can also enjoy most public land. And so allowing only a limited number of sites would make sense. From what I've seen, these basic requirements would also be essential. Sites must be close to transit and resources for the unhoused and poor. There must be basic sanitation provided, such as regularly clean porta potties and hand washing stations. Ideally a shower and a regularly serviced dumpster.
You have 1 minute remaining.
Thank you. There really should be multiple sites, not just a single site of last resort. People need to be able to choose who they shelter next to. This greatly reduces conflict and increases safety. It's essential to be able to choose who you live next to for the safety, especially of women, and I've also seen with my own eyes how essential it is for the safety of Black folks and other marginalized groups. The racism that especially Black unhoused folks including those in shelters and motels, deal with pretty much every day is just staggering, absolutely staggering. Multiple locations are definitely needed. Will this solve all of our problems? Of course not, but it's necessary to minimally meet the human right to shelter oneself, while increased efforts are figured out and then implemented by the region or others to ensure everyone at least has a roof over their head. I ask that you direct staff to quickly create such a bylaw in consultation with local unhoused folks as well as volunteers and activists. Work with the co-creators of the plan to end chronic homelessness that you yourselves passed. Those folks or myself would be glad to have even one of you reach out to work on this. And thank you for listening.
Thank you, Andrew. We have a question, Councillor Hunick.
I have a comment and a question. Thank you for delegating this evening. If you could please refrain from referring to regional staff as sleazy, that would be really helpful because we all care deeply about what we do and the people that we serve. But my question for you is, do you have any examples of the bylaw that you speak of that you could share with us?
I think Hamilton implemented one for a couple years. That's been rescinded, I think, since Doug Ford's different approach to unhoused folks. I think that's one example. There's problems and pros to that one, but there are others as well.
Okay.
Councillor Hunick?
So I'd recommend looking into that or others.
That's all.
Thank you, Andrew.
Thanks.
The next speaker is Kevin White from Kitchener. Kevin? Kevin, welcome to the podium. You have 5 minutes.
Good evening, Chair and Council. I'd like to address an issue that has been raised at Council recently, namely that of respect. I think respect is good and healthy, and the moving testimony given by delegates experiencing harassment that was sexist, racist, and otherwise quite awful encourages action of some kind to be taken, although one might wonder about how effectively a cultural shift can be legislated, especially when the primary benefactors of the legislation are current power holders, but we have to start somewhere. Rights-based education programs might be an option. Another way to enhance a cultural shift is to lead by example and demonstrate respect through decisions and actions. I believe this should be quite manageable given the region's mission, vision, and values of a compassionate community that cares for all people, stewards the land for future generations, and where everyone has the opportunity to live a good life, providing essential services that support quality of life for each and every person in Waterloo Region, and the core value of care for people and the land we share. With this in mind, I would like to review the site-specific bylaw voted on with overwhelming favorability by Council this past April, and which is currently being disputed in the courts. Multiple delegates expressed that the creation of the bylaw itself went against the region's protocols and practices outlined in the Plan to End Chronic Homelessness, which the region endorsed in April of 2024. In fact, the evening this site-specific bylaw was passed, multiple councillors apologized to delegates following the vote. These two positions are not commensurate, as the vote was entirely within their power. The councillors either voted against their interests and values, or the apologies were insincere. In either case, is this evident lack of integrity demonstrative of respect? Was it respectful when, on the evening of the bylaw was passed, the lawyers who had successfully challenged the region's constitutional violations in 2022, were those violations respectful? Even in the case name, Region of Waterloo v. Persons Unknown and To Be Ascertained, we don't know them, but we'll still try to violate their rights. Was it respectful when those same lawyers proposed mediation and urged that the region not pass the bylaw and were evidently ignored? When it resulted in the very outcomes they warned about, indeed an injunction was granted earlier this month, is it respectful? When the community legal services were again needed to defend encampment residents, diverting them from the important work of preventing evictions elsewhere and thus inhibited from the important work of actively preventing homelessness as a direct result of the region's actions, we have to ask, is this respectful? If the previously stated values are indeed the ones you hold, then all but one councillor voted in direct opposition to the region's stated values that evening. Is it respectful to declare your values to the public and then behave and vote in direct opposition to them? If Council had instead adhered to its stated values when it came to this decision, would the federal housing advocate have felt a need to address the region, reminding our local government of its responsibility to uphold Canadian civil rights and the importance of developing and maintaining trust in and with the community? Regarding the elect respect motion, one delegate, speaking about the difficulty of facing harassment, noted that their peers remained unsupported, and many calls to the police did not resolve the issues. The motion, nevertheless, insists on appeals to law enforcement. Perhaps there are other opportunities that could be explored to more effectively manage a cultural shift toward respect instead. Does this appeal to law enforcement also hold council to account? Does it actually enforce respect or just expand punitive measures? My concern is not that council would like to strongly encourage respectful discourse and reduce harassment and intimidation. This is, of course, desirable so long as we agree on what respectful means. Are we sure we agree? Do we have consensus from the community? Who was consulted? In a community that upholds the mission, vision, and core value the region espouses, respect would occur naturally. The tangible actions of the region would demonstrate the level of respect that its members seek. What is the penalty council or regional staff face when they fail to meet the standards of respect? What enforcement takes place? It seems to me that delegates such as myself have to frame a respectfully worded letter trying to bring some sense of shame and accountability to council when we express criticism, but at what point does that actually affect change? If shame is bypassed, deflected, or denied, there will be no reflection or accountability. We need to
Kevin,
engage
you have
with
1 minute remaining.
Thank you. We need to engage with shame. We need you to engage with shame. It's only respectful. Respectful words are all well and good, but let's make sure our actions match. The same goes for values. I look forward to the public input meeting for the regional budget, where I am sure that we will see further evidence of regional values embodied. Thank you.
Thank you very much for coming in. I see no questions, so thank you. That is the end of our delegations this evening. So colleagues, I would entertain a motion to approve the minutes of the previous meetings listed under 10.1 to 10.9. If I could have a mover, moved by Councillor Foxton, seconded by Councillor Gowing. Please use your e-scribe to vote. Councillor Wolf, we're taking that as in favor, correct? Thank you, colleagues. That is carried. The next agenda item 11 is communications information package, August 22nd, 2025. That was distributed electronically to your attention. Next, we need a motion to go into the committee of the whole to consider reports. If I could have a move by Councillor Harris, seconded by Councillor McCabe. Please use your e-scribe to vote that council go into committee of the whole to consider reports. Colleagues, that is carried. The first report is financial report. It is recommended under 13.1.1 on the agenda. There's one motion with 2 parts to it. If I could have a mover, moved by Councillor James, seconded by Councillor Erb. So it's taking the following action. GRT Conestoga Steel Column Rehabilitation is set out in a report. Okay. Don't you want me to read the rest of it? Colleagues, that is carried. The next committee report is Sustainability, Infrastructure and Development Committee Summary from August 12th, 2025. I need a motion to approve this. Moved by Councillor Hunick, seconded by Councillor Gowing. Please use your e-scribe.
Yes, sorry, Madam Chair,
Councillor Urbanovich, you have a question?
Yeah, can number 5 be dealt with separately, please?
All right, so they've been moved and seconded, but we are now voting on everything except number 5. So we're voting on 1 to 4 first. We will take 5 separately. All have been moved and seconded, but we're only voting on the first 4. Colleagues, that is carried. We will now deal with motion number 5, and this is examining right-hand turns on red. So it's been moved and seconded. I see no speakers, so please use the scribe to vote. Colleagues, that is carried. The next item, 13.2.2, is a closed summary of August 12th, 2025, and I'm confirming that Councillor James has declared a conflict of interest for these minutes, and I'm looking for a mover and a seconder. Moved by Councillor Salonen, seconded by Councillor Foxton. Please use your e-scribe to vote. Colleagues, that is carried. The next report is Administration and Finance Committee Summary, August 12th, 2025. And there are several in here, quite long. Councillor Wolf, would you like to move this? Councillor Wolf is moving it. Councillor Leggett is seconding it. Please use your e-scribe to vote.
Chair, can number 4 please be voted on separately? Number 4 be voted on separately?
So, all right.
Automated speed enforcement.
So colleagues, we are now, it's all been moved and seconded. We're going to deal with 1, 2, 3, and we will take 4 separately. And 4 is dealing with automated speed enforcement. Councillor Verbanovich, what? 1, 2, and 3? Yes. Okay, thank you. Colleagues, that is carried. We will now deal with number 4, which is the automated speed enforcement. Again, it's been moved and seconded, but we'll now vote on that part of the recommendations. Councillor Foxton? Oh. That is carried, colleagues. The next agenda item is 13.2.4, Community and Health Services Committee Summary, August 12th, 2025. Moved by Councillor Erb, seconded by Councillor James. Please use your e-scribe to vote. Thank you, colleagues. I hate to deny Dr. Wong from addressing us, but there is no Board of Health update right now. It will be provided to Council on September 24th. So the next agenda item is the regional clerk, and we'll now be discussing the 2026 Council and Committee meeting calendar. This report was deferred from June and further deferred from a special council meeting on August the 12th. I will now call on Tim Brubaker, acting regional clerk, to further provide context.
Thank you, Chair. I'm not sure I have a lot more context to provide. I just want to note at the special council meeting, there had been a question, I believe it was from Councillor Salonen, about the budget meetings in 2026. So we can't obviously do all of the budget meetings. They'll happen at the beginning of 2027 because of the election. But we do believe, and I'm looking at Commissioner Steffler, but I believe that the 16th, which is the first council meeting, would be an appropriate day for the initial budget meeting for the 2027 budget.
So I see no questions or comments. So colleagues, I'm looking for a mover and a seconder that the regional municipality adopt the 2026 council and meeting calendar as attached in the report Appendix A, dated June 25th, 2025. Moved by Councillor Hunick, seconded by Councillor Nowak. Please use your e-scribe to vote. Colleagues, that is carried. We're now on to other matters under Committee of the Whole. I have none. So the next is a motion for the Committee of the Whole to rise and Council to resume. If I could have a mover and a seconder. Moved by Councillor Gowing, seconded by Councillor Foxton. Please use your e-scribe to vote. We're voting that the Committee of the Whole rise and Council resume. Colleagues, that is carried. I would now entertain a motion to adopt the proceedings of the Committee of the Whole. Moved by Councillor Nowak, seconded by Councillor Schatz. Please use your e-scribe to vote. Colleagues, that is carried. The next agenda item is motions that have been provided as notices of motion. I am going to vacate the chair and ask Councillor Erb to take it, as the next notice of motion is mine.
Council, we're dealing with 17.1, a notice of motion by Chair Redmond. I'll ask you to introduce it.
Thank you, Chair Erb. I'm happy to put this motion before Council, and it is being seconded by Councillor Salonen. And I want to provide a little bit of context, and I know that I tabled this a while ago, but I think it's really important that this council get its arms around the fact that there's a new hospital coming, which I think we all know. But the Ministry of Health's Hospital Capital Cost Share Guide defines eligible costs for the ministry approved and funded for both small and major capital projects. The ministry will fund 90% of the eligible project costs and 100% of the eligible planning, design, financing, and transaction costs. Funding the remaining 10% of all eligible project costs and any costs not eligible for ministry funding are the financial responsibility of the hospital. These costs are also known as the hospital's local share for the project. The local share plan is an important document as it identifies the timing and sources of funds for the hospital share for the total project costs. It demonstrates to the ministry that hospital has a sound financial plan to manage its local share obligations. Colleagues, hospitals are essential infrastructure for the community health and well-being. Municipal funding demonstrates a community's commitment to investing in better healthcare services. The partnership between the provincial government, municipalities, and the community, very importantly, ensures a balanced approach to funding critical infrastructure. So basically, my motion is asking that we ask the Waterloo Region Health Network to come forward with a quantum of what the local share is. And I'm not going to read the whereases, but it basically says staff work with WRHN and report back on the impacts of the new hospital on the region and inform the life cycle benefits and costs to the region, including impacts on key services such as paramedics, public health, transit, and water. That staff develop a funding and contribution policy framework to guide regional council's decision-making process for the funding of the new hospital and future requests for hospital expansions. That the region of Waterloo formally requests WRHN present its initial local share plan and overall total cost, project cost to regional council as soon as possible, and that the region of Waterloo formally requests that the WRHN present a community-wide engagement plan to the region of Waterloo Council as the process of building a new hospital in Waterloo region advances. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Foxon.
Thank you, and through you, Chair. If you'll notice below the motion is my amendments added to the motions for discussion. If you want me to go through just the add-ons, it says in combination with renewal and expansion of existing facilities situated within the city of Kitchener, and whereas Cambridge Memorial Hospital will also have a future expansion project to support the addition of healthcare demands attributed to growth. And we state that look at the two hospitals on the regional services have yet, and my thing just skipped, yet to be identified with the WRHN or future requirements associated with Cambridge Memorial Hospital. Again, we're just asking for a holistic view of the hospitals. You can read the amendments I've requested, and I'm open for discussion.
So before we begin any discussion, we should get a seconder to get it on the floor. Is there a seconder? Seconded by Councillor Harris. Okay, Councillor Liggett.
I'm thinking I'm doing this virtually. It's already seconded.
Okay, Councillor Vanek. Okay, so the discussion now should be on the amendment.
Yes.
Okay.
So I appreciate the fact that Councillor Foxton has brought forward the Cambridge Memorial Hospital because it was excluded from the original motion. So my question is to our treasurer. Does the region or regional taxpayers contribute to the Cambridge Hospital? If we're being asked to contribute to the regional one, Do the regional taxpayers contribute to our local Cambridge hospital?
You want to respond to that, Wayne?
Through the chair, if you're asking, like, in the past, have we contributed? Is that the question?
No, do we currently, is there a program set up? If we're going to be funding from Cambridge, a regional hospital, our Cambridge taxpayers, we're already supporting our local hospital in our budget. So I'm asking, our regional taxpayers funding the Cambridge hospital?
Yeah, no, we don't have a program for the Cambridge Hospital right now.
Just for clarification, though, is that the same answer for St. Mary's and Grand River?
Yes, that's correct. We don't have any funding plan in place right now for the hospitals.
No. Councillor Hunick.
Thank you, through the chair. Did regional taxpayers pay a portion of Cambridge Memorial Hospital when it was being built? Or
Mr.
expanded?
Yeah, through the chair, I did a bit of research and through some of the reports. In the early 2000s, there was an initiative to fund the 3 hospitals. It was done through a program that was Health Services and Restructuring Commission. Some of you may remember that, in Cardiac Care Project. So through that, there was a plan to collect funds to support projects at the 3 hospitals. And that was done in the early 2000s into, I believe, Cambridge Memorial in 2013 received $7.8 million then at that time.
Thank you. So I guess to conclude my comments, the proposed amendments don't make sense to me because Cambridge Memorial Hospital already exists and functions and is funded by the provincial government, not the regional government, accordingly. Thanks.
Councillor Urbanovic.
Thank you very much. And I will note that Councillor Foxton's amendments refer to both Cambridge and the Kitchener hospitals, because folks will remember that the Kitchener hospitals, in fact, are part of the future of care. And while we're talking about building a new building, we're also talking about significant renovations at both the Freeport and Midtown campuses as part of the overall plan. So that needs to be in there. So I thank Councillor Foxton for bringing that forward. I guess my question to Chair Redmond is the thinking that this funding will be coming 100% from the region, or are the area municipalities involved?
Really what this motion does is ask the WRHN to come forward with an amount of money, but also a plan. And I would say that it's up to them to design the plan, but I would think that they would go to all area municipalities. And I think the reaction that our healthcare system is a system throughout the region is very accurate. But I do know that in the past that we did contribute money, I think it was about 23 million, but I could be wrong, to Cambridge Memorial Hospital when they did their renovation and they did their expansion. So this was not meant to exclude the other campuses. This was meant to look at the obligation that I laid out under the Ministry of Health for local share. But I would say, yes, absolutely should go to area municipalities, and it is not on the shoulders of the regional municipality to look after local share. It is the community. I would assume that the hospital foundation is part of this. My sense is that this is a very large number, and that as we look at the new hospital and we look at other satellite campuses of the healthcare system, it will be done in a phased approach. So this is hoping to get our arms around it, to get a plan going forward. But the plan is really incumbent on the hospital to come forward and saying, this is what we need and this is our plan to engage the public. So I did not look at this as an end point, but a beginning point. And I would say that it is the WRHN that needs to come up with the plan because it is their plan.
Okay, thank you for that. I guess the second question, though, that I have is no doubt you're well aware, the WRHN has been meeting with our HCAOs, our CFOs, and we all get briefed, as heads of council from them periodically. I know you do, I do, others do. And so I'm just trying to understand, is this motion trying to circumvent the process with the CAOs and the CFOs to try to get it here sooner? Because I think it's important that, our professional people that advise our respective councils are ensuring that it comes to us in a manner that's ready for the public and our respective councils to deal with it appropriately.
I would tell you that I see this as complementary. I don't see this as excluding that. What I see this as is the WRHN coming forward with an amount, with a target, and with a plan on how they're going to engage the greater community, municipal elected officials of all levels, and that, of course, that they would lean on the expertise of the people. We already are engaged, but it concerns me that I think this is a big number, and I would like to see what the plan is that they bring forward and how they're going to do the engagement. So again, this is a beginning, not an ending, and it is meant to complement some of those conversations that are already going on.
Okay, well, I will say I will support the amendment. I will support the motion as well, with some reservations, because I am just concerned that the process needs to be done in a way collaboratively with all 8 area municipalities, and needs to be done collaboratively with WRHN so that the information is coming forward in the most appropriate way to ensure good decision making by all of us. Thank you.
Councillor Salomon.
Thank you, through you, Chair. I just want to underscore that, I seconded the main motion, so I'm supportive of that. I'm perfectly fine with the addition of the already existing healthcare spaces. Really, for me, the importance of this is kind of what Chair Redmond said, but discussing big picture, how we're dealing with, if I were to guess, close to the $1 billion range of a community share spread out over multiple years. But when we have budget pressures, I think getting this number sooner rather than later is pretty important to start figuring out how we're going to be addressing that at whichever appropriate level for taxation. I might deviate on where I think the community share should come from, but that's not a discussion for today. On a whole, very supportive of getting some actual numbers that we can start working with.
Councillor Craig.
Well, thank you, Mr. Chair. I'm going to support the motion and the addendum. I have no problem with that. My recollection is in the initial rebuilding of our hospitals, it goes back to the late 90s. And there was survey done. There was an apportionment on regional council for each of the municipalities through the regional surcharge. And that was apportioned out. I think Cambridge was, I believe it was 28 million, and the other, Kitchener was higher, Waterloo was about the same. And we all paid for that. The only thing was, it took 22 years to get Cambridge Hospital completed. It was the lack of overall political support that really hampered Cambridge in that time period. And I don't wish to see that happening again in the future. My other issue, and I'm looking forward to the costs, of course, I get snippets in the community, and here I am sort of at the end of the process again, wondering what is the cost? And I know we're going to get that, but it's fairly high from what I'm hearing the back doors. And my concern is what we're always hearing from people. People are living one paycheck to another. And I'm very concerned about adding this on to the regional taxpayers and to municipal taxpayers also at the municipal level. Just as a follow-up, there was a contribution in Cambridge to Cambridge Memorial. Okay, I think it was about 4 or 5 million at that time. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Councillor Shantz.
Thank you. I'm going to support the amendment and the motion. I think both are really important. I think we do need to get a handle on what these costs are going to be, but I think we need to do it in the context of what other costs are going to be coming forward for the other facilities. And so I appreciate the amendment, and I support both.
Chair Redmond. She hasn't spoken to that yet.
I just don't want anybody listening to this on YouTube to think that Cambridge Memorial Hospital has not been part of this, because they have. Patrick Gaskin has been involved in all of the conversations, and the approach to the new hospital is that it's part of a continuum of healthcare throughout the region. So I don't want anyone, I was specifically looking at getting the number and hearing a plan from the WRHN about how we move forward. And that was my motivation for going forward. And I want to reiterate what I said earlier, which is the local share is something that's prescribed by the province. The local share is borne. It is the responsibility of the hospital, but it is borne by the hospital, the community, other levels of government, and I would think that the Hospital Foundation will be very active in raising money. This is a generous community. There are pockets of residents that have very deep pockets. I have no doubt that they will rise to the occasion, but I think that we need to know sort of what the target is. And again, this is going to be phased over many years, so I think it's really important that we get that conversation into the public domain.
Councillor Foxton.
Thank you, and through you, Chair. I am not in disagreement with Chair Edmund. We have to know the cost. All I'm doing, and you know, Councillor Unix mentioned that Cambridge Hospital received 23 million or whatever. But our finance said that was a 3-hospital deal. That 23 million or whatever it was 27% of the deal. The upper portions of the other monies went to the other 2 hospitals. So they got the smallest portion, and as Councillor Craig said, it took over 20 years to get that to Cambridge Hospital. All this is stating is that when we have the financial breakdown, we have to realize that by the time it's come to fruition, these other hospitals will also need assistance. So we want to look at the original motion that was put out years ago that did the breakdown, and it should be based on the size and the hospital facility. And Patrick Gaskin met with my CAO and I and talked about that original motion, and that's the way we should be going. So I don't disagree with you, Madam Chair. I agree that, Madam Chair Redmond, I agree that that we do need to know the numbers, but we also can't forget that the other 2 hospitals, because when this comes to fruition, Cambridge Hospital will be looking for more, because they're going to be developing further their dialysis unit as well as other things that will relieve the strain off of a lot of other hospitals. So we have to be more inclusive. We have to see the big picture all around. We can't put all our eggs in one basket and find out that we're crumbling in another area. And this is all I'm asking for here. Just to make sure, pull out the old one. See what it said. See how it was worded, how the breakdown was. Patrick was pretty clear. It was 27% for Cambridge, and the rest went to the other hospitals. And let's look at the whole picture, because the decision we're making on this isn't for one hospital. It's for the taxpayer over the next 20 to 30 years. And in those 20 to 30 years, will there be a method to move forward to create a healthy Waterloo region with all the hospitals? Thank you.
I don't see any other speakers. I happen to be in the audience many years ago when the One Voice, One Vision campaign came to the region asking for funding, which turned out to be $37 million. 20 of it to Grand River, 8 to St. Mary's and 7,800,000 to Cambridge Memorial Hospital. The Cambridge portion was delayed because of the construction, but that was eventually paid in 2013 to Cambridge. So we have an amendment on the floor. We'll use your e-scribe to indicate your support for that, please.
Oh, I have to hit submit.
Do we have everybody? Yep. Okay. That is carried.
Thank you.
Now to the main motion. Again, use your e-scribe buttons to indicate your support. Sorry, just one. Okay, sorry. Okay. Now the main motion is amended. And that's carried. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Erb. I have no further notices of motion. Unfinished business.
I have other business.
Other business, Councillor Hunick, go ahead.
We have a Grand River Hospital LRT station, and we don't have a Grand River Hospital in our region anymore. So I'm wondering if staff can provide an update in terms of rebranding for that.
Sounds like a Doug Spooner question.
Yeah, through your chair, Councillor, thank you for the question. So you will recall a discussion that we had about Kitchener Central Station, and the reason for naming it Kitchener Central was that we would not have to update all of the GRT assets because we have an existing Kitchener GO station and an existing Central station. Because updating those assets is very expensive, very difficult, and we have to do that in all of our printed materials, all of our online materials, every bus shelter. So aware of the issue that we have a station that does not match the name of the hospital. We're looking into how to best resolve that. But I do not want to enter into a reprinting and redistribution of all of those materials at this point until I am ready to do so and understand the costs of said changes.
Great, thank you. I'm just glad you're on it.
Councillor Craig.
Just a follow-up question regarding the exchange of garbage cans, the program that's coming in. People that have the old garbage cans, will they be picked up if they want to get them out and don't want them in their garages anymore?
Commissioner Rose.
My son asked me to ask that.
Through the chair to Councillor Craig, I do believe that staff will be available to pick up the old garbage, like the old organics garbage cans, but right. the ones that people have purchased on their own from various things are their garbage cans, so they would be responsible for disposing of those. However, we have advised members of the public that using any of those containers for compost or anything you use for your garden, that kind of thing is something you can do, or you could use it for yard waste pickup as well, instead of using the paper bags that you can purchase from different grocery stores. So it's up to the resident, but yeah, we're going to be very hands-on with the exchange of the carts to make it easier for everybody.
So just so I can clarify that, Madam Chair, through you, so people who have purchased a garbage can in the past or container, that won't be picked up if we put it out.
If it fits inside of the new cart, then yes, it will be picked up. As
It will
part.
be picked up.
If it fits inside of the new cart, yes.
Fits inside.
So Councillor Craig, I think what the message is if it can be contained in the new garbage container, it will be disposed of as though it was garbage. But it's not going to be a standalone, oh gosh, here are 3 mismatched garbage pails that nobody wants anymore.
Well, I need some more clarification. I'm sorry, I'm not trying to be argumentative here, but we're not starting the program until March, and people are getting their new containers. The week before, couldn't they just put them out or have the old ones picked up?
Yeah, I can speak to my team about that. You know, right now, before the new contract starts, there's a three bag limit. So if the garbage can is garbage now and needs to be picked up, then that can be part of the 3 bag limit set pickup for collection. Because it will be considered garbage at that point.
So Councillor Craig, maybe we can take it offline. It looks like Councillor Saladin wants to jump in and help.
Can you help me out? Go ahead.
I don't know if this is a help, but it's more so a question, like, would it not be treated like a bulky item? Like, I've seen far bigger things than the 3 garbage bags on bulky item day, which is every garbage collection day right now.
Yes, so through the chair to the councillor, if it's large enough, it could be considered a bulky item, yes.
And are bulky items, once this new program goes in place, no longer going to be accepted?
No, we will continue the bulky item program. Or
Okay.
yes, we will continue the bulky item program.
So that possibly could have been helpful. Councillor Ravanovich.
Yeah, thank you. And I want to thank Councillor Craig for bringing this up, because this is coming up a lot from people. I mean, I think we all know there's a lot of frustration out there around this, the direction that we're going, and change is always difficult. But there are pinch points that, quite frankly, are going to make this issue even more problematic than it is. And those pinch points include things like the double weeks that no longer will exist, that I think we're going to need to revisit. I think another one of those pinch points is this issue of existing garbage cans. There's somehow going to need to be marked so that they get picked up. And people are going to need to be able to use them until the new system actually kicks in. So I think staff are going to have to take this away and come up with a mechanism for picking these up, because if we're forcing people to go to a new system, then we at least have a responsibility to collect the old ones to go from there.
So what I'm hearing, Commissioner Rose, is that this transition is probably going to be challenging. Can you take this away and maybe come back with some of these issues as part of a report of how we're going to address them?
Absolutely, Chair. We're actually planning a report in October on an update of the cart rollout and the new collection contract, so we can add that to it.
Councillor
Erb. I don't have any difficulty with figuring out what's going to happen with them, but I think we have to remember, like if I'm thinking of our household, ours are rubber. I know our neighbors, which I take in from time to time, are metal. So there's going to be some considerations for recycling and what additional impact that would have on the carrier that's now doing that, no longer being the region. So like the blue blocks, like my 2 of our garbage cans, I think, would belong on the blue blocks because they're made out of rubber. So how is that going to impact that supplier?
Yeah, so I will take that back to my staff, and then we'll include it in the information with the report.
I could cut it up and get it in the blue box, but that's not practical either.
So Councillor James, are you going to trash talk too, or do you have a different topic?
Just through you, Chair, we are not reinventing the wheel here. I'm sure there are other municipalities who've had to deal with this. So just for staff, I mean, this has been done. So, you know, what have other municipalities done? And we don't have to be the brain about this. Thank you.
Yeah, and actually, we have our new director of waste management actually rolled out the CART program in Guelph. So she's quite familiar with some of the challenges of the CART rollout and has implemented that in the plan.
Maybe this comes under those frequently asked questions and answers. Thank you very much. I see no further speakers, so I now would entertain a motion to enact bylaws first, second, and third readings. That is moved by Councillor Nowak, seconded by Councillor Shantz. Please use your e-scribe to vote. Colleagues, that is carried now. Everybody's favorite motion, a motion to adjourn, moved by Councillor Gowing, seconded by Councillor Harris. Please use your e-scribe to vote. Councillor Craig, are you voting against adjourning? Shockingly, that is unanimously carried. Thank you, colleagues. Have a great evening, and welcome to the Horseshoe, Councillor Gowing.